So just going back to his connection to young voters and what he was trying to bring up, he was basically talking about how the economy is really bad for anyone under 30, and he was saying that the rise of Trump, the election of Trump, that was really a distress signal to say, hey, something is really wrong with the economy. And then he's also saying that Mamdani is also a distress signal and saying, hey, you really need to fix our issues. And he keeps warning, hey, there's a revolution coming. You're not going to like the way it looks. It can either look very peaceful or it can look very chaotic, because this younger generation, they are super upset. They feel like there's no point in saving money because you lost money in 2008. And so if you are eventually going to lose it because the market is crap, right, you might as well spend the money. And so they had a really funny conversation just about how bad it is for the younger generation and people in general, but more specifically the younger generation. And so I do want to play this clip because this gave me the biggest chuckle, and not because I'm laughing at what people are going through, but just how shocked and surprised Tucker is. So we'll play the clip.
Routinely cynical year over year as their net worth either stays at zero or goes into negative. Now, my question for every Republican senator and congressman watching this, if you do not know these 4 letters, then you are not doing your job. BNPL. Do you know what that means?
No clue.
Buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later is how 60%, according to surveys, of Generation Z is paying for things month to month. They're not credit cards. So this is not regulated by credit bureaus. It's not regulated with credit checks. It's basically anything from Amazon to Instacart, groceries, clothing, furniture. You can finance anything. It's BNPL. It's run by 3 main companies, Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. And essentially, you're 21, 22 years old.
I do want to pause it here because I've heard of all 3 companies and I haven't really used them or looked into, I guess, what exactly they do and how they're set up. So I always just thought of this as another way to pay, but also kind of like something that helps you with your credit or just makes it easier for you to buy the things that you need to buy. But with the way that he's talking about it in this interview with Tucker, you can see kind of like how predatory it is, and then also how sad it is that you have to basically spend your life trying to pay back things you've already consumed, things you've already watched, visits you've already taken to the doctor, that you have to spend the rest of your life trying to pay that off because you want it to split things or you need it to split things into payments. So I think that is super interesting.
You can split a pizza into 4 payments. Sounds great, right? This is the modern tech economy.
Buy a pizza on credit?
Yes.
This made me laugh because he's like, buy a pizza on credit? Like, he is so shocked. Like, he can't understand why someone would do this, why it's allowed, and all of that stuff, or why it's needed, right? So he is just so shocked, and I stopped playing this just to have a good laugh and all of that stuff, because just how shocked he is, other people should be shocked that something like this needs to happen, right? And so I'm going to continue playing it, and you can actually see as he's processing it and what his actual feelings are. So
It's happening now?
You can go to Instacart right now, and either through Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. Those are the 3 big actors. These are non-credit regulated bureaus.
Shut those fuckers down tomorrow. No, I'm serious. I'm so offended. Here's a depressing...
I thought it was funny, like, I'm so offended. Shut those effers down tomorrow. So, like, he's understanding the gravity of the situation, and it makes you so frustrated because I think throughout this interview, I don't have a clip on it, but Tucker's like, are people listening to you? I hope they're listening to you. And if you heard it the way that he tells Tucker, why would you not be listening to him? Like, maybe he could be exaggerating, whatever, right? Or maybe some details are off, maybe, right? But you should be so kind of intrigued by what he's saying and how it's impacting the younger generation, young voters, and you should want to look into it more. And so him saying, like, I'm trying to tell people they're not listening to me, that is really crazy and wild, because you have someone of his influence and who is reaching into so many different communities, especially now. You can see that literally like millions of people are upset and mourning his passing and what happened to him, and you can see now in a greater sense what his influence was and how many people he was reaching. And then to know that he couldn't reach Congress is kind of crazy, because all he was doing was just talking and telling his ideas, and if you didn't agree with it, okay, cool, whatever, right? But it's just kind of frustrating that the right people, well, obviously the right people did, because the people who are mourning him, who understand like, hey, you're taking stuff that he said out of context. He was a great person. He had a lot of good ideas, that sort of thing, right? Even if you didn't agree with every single thing he said, you can agree that he was coming from a very principled place and he did have a lot of good things to say. It's frustrating that the people who can actually make a difference in terms of their elected positions, whether it's Congress or the president, the vice president, that sort of thing, they weren't all listening to him. He did say that he had the president's ear, but those other people who could have listened to him more, I wonder if they are regretting that they didn't, just because now we can see the influence that he had. But I think now that we're seeing how deep and extensive his impact is, if I were in Congress, I'd be like, dang, we should have listened to him, because now who else is going to connect with the younger generation in this way? Because I saw that Destiny tried to do the same thing and he got heckled, he got a lot of insults and all of that stuff just from the short clip that I saw. So it's not easy for you people to go into these college campuses and communities and have these conversations, draw a crowd, and then actually have people want to debate them and listen to them and all of that stuff, right? So who is going to do what Charlie Kirk did in the way that he did it and be as effective as he was? And so that's something that was super frustrating, but I did like this clip because it speaks to just the shock of Tucker to this situation being described, because again, he's not impacted by this, right? He's made his money, his kids are good, all of that stuff, right? And so he doesn't hear about the everyday teenagers or the everyday average American's life in this way, and Charlie is the one who is bringing this message to you, and then you don't even listen to him. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty wild. And so as a result of him telling Tucker this situation, like, hey, it's bad, they're frustrated, they're exhausted with Israel, they're exhausted with not being able to pay for stuff, the economy is really bad. And one thing that he said was that happy people, grateful people are not the ones who are revolting. It's the people who are upset and frustrated who are going to revolt, and how they revolt is going to be crazy. It's either going to be peaceful or it's going to be unpeaceful and crazy and chaotic, and you're going to wish that you listened to them when you had the chance to do so. And so it will be very interesting to see what happens over the next 5-10 years and how people react, especially as more people are learning about Charlie Kirk and his ideas, and how basically the people who could have really made a difference did not listen to him the way that he should have. And so that's just super interesting to me.